Good afternoon, everyone. Till the last class, we have dealt about the half-wave rectifier and its analysis. So we have derived almost some 8 factors, different factors like a ripple factor. We have derived about this form factor, peak inverse factor, uh, peak inverse voltage, uh, right? So all such things we have done. So in the half-wave rectifier, we are left out with 2 more terms. One is the rectifier efficiency and then transformer utilization factor. Okay. Before proceeding, I just want to again reiterate that the symbol that we have used for this ripple factor is called rho. Okay, it is not uh, any other thing. It should be read as rho, RHO rho. Okay. Sorry, it's not RHO rho. It is gamma. Ripple factor is a gamma. So just I was confused in a hurry. I think now also I made the same thing. I'll show that. So before proceeding further, uh, I'll show you the simulation circuit again for the half-wave rectifier with small change. Okay. So ripple factor is gamma. It's not RHO rho. It is gamma GAMMA. Okay. So I'll show the circuit. So I think this is the circuit that you have seen in the last class, half-wave rectifier circuit. Is it visible to you? Is my simulation circuit visible to you? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Yes, right. So we in the last class I made a very simple circuit in which I directly kept a voltage source of 10 volts. Peak voltage is 10 volts. Okay, and I connect the circuit as per the circuit diagram. But now, before I want to introduce this new terms like a transformer utilization factor, I want to employ the transformer within the circuit. Okay, so I'll be closing this simulation circuit. Okay, and then I'll be opening the circuit. So this is exactly the same circuit. Only difference is that instead of taking the supply directly from the voltage source, I'm using a transformer in between. Can you see this diagram? Is my diagram visible to you? Please
Yes,
respond. Yes. Okay. So if I
sir.
see the yeah. Okay. So if you see this voltage source now the peak voltage value is 230 into square root of 2 because 230 is the RMS value for a sinusoidal waveform. Peak value will be RMS value into root over 2. That's what I'm writing, 230 into SQRT of 2. In MATLAB, the command is called SQRT if you want to find out under root. Okay, frequency I'm taking 50 Hz. And then I'm taking a linear transformer. This element is available in the library. Okay, so in the library browser, you have to search for uh, transformer. Search for transformer, you'll get a number of different transformers of different block sets. So you got in RF block sets, Simscape block set, all those things you got. Out of this, I'm going to use this linear transformer. Okay. So in the linear transformer, it is shown one winding on the primary side and two windings, number 2 and 3 on the secondary side. Are they visible to you? Are they visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right. So out of this, now what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to use the entire 3 windings. I'm only going to use only the one winding on the primary side, one winding on the secondary side. Okay, so I will copy paste this to the simulation circuit, and then what I'm going to do is in the simulation circuit, uh, I am untaking this 3 windings transformer option. So you have option called 3 windings transformer, right? I'm just untaking that. Okay, and then Usually, if you take this values of your parameters, they will be in something like a MVA. So it will be into the 10 power 6. So I'll show you that also. I'll first copy paste this transformer. Okay. I'm adding to I'm adding here. So if I open this linear transformer, can you see these values? What's the nominal power? It is 250 E6 in MATLAB. E implies the 10. So it is 250 to 10 power 6. That is 250 MVA, and frequency 660 Hz, and the winding voltage are in RMS values 735 E3 means 735 kilovolt. Okay, winding 2 is 315 kilovolt. Winding 3 is again 315 kilovolt. And some R2, L1, R1, L1, R2, L2 parameters are given. These are the parameters of the windings of the transformer. You may learn in the machines topic. And we have magnetic resistance also. Now, I'm going to change some of these values. That's why I want to show them first. So these are the default values. Okay. Now I'll be deleting this. I'll be showcasing what the values I have used. Okay. So for the first, I'll be talking about the winding voltages. Okay. So the primary voltage is in RMS value, because we are taking from the single phase power supply. I'm taking it as 230 volts RMS. If it was a peak value, I would have taken 230 into root 2. Okay, because it is RMS, I'm just leaving it as 230. And coming to R1 and L1, there are the winding resistance and the winding inductances, because of which I'll be having some kind of losses. Okay, so I want to consider it as ideal transformer without any losses. So in order to reduce them, I'm taking the R1 value and L1 value as 0 only. Okay, and the winding 2 parameters is secondary voltage. Secondary voltage, I want to consider a peak voltage of 10 volts. Okay, if the peak value is 10 volts, your RMS value will be Vm by root 2, right? So I'm writing 10 by root 2. Instead of root 2, I'm using the inbuilt function called square root, SQR, RT. Again, I'm taking R2, L2 values as 0. Okay, in the 3 windings transformer, that option I have disabled it, because I want only one single winding on the secondary side also. Okay, I'm not changing anything about the magnetic resistance or inductances. So with this, I'll close this now. Everything else is on the circuit is the same. Okay, you can see that you have a single diode, and you have a in series with your load resistor. And also in the load resistor value, earlier I have used 1 ohm, right? Now I have changed it to 100 ohms, only to differentiate the magnitudes of your output voltage and current values. Because some of you might be confused that both voltage and current values are one and the same. So that's why I just modified the number from 1 ohm to 100 ohms. So these are the changes I have made from the previous circuit diagram to this circuit diagram. And now I'm measuring 4 different values. One is the input voltage, and then diode voltage, and then output voltage, and then output current. Okay, so I'm opening the scope now. Okay, again the scope, what I have done is I have given the titles for each of this graph. So first one is input voltage. On the y-axis also I have given I have also labeled the y-axis as input voltage. X-axis I have labeled as time. So time is in seconds. The second one is diode voltage on y-axis. X-axis is time. Third one is output voltage across the load resistor. Okay, and fourth one is output current across through the load in amperes. So I'm again running it for only 0.1 seconds to showcase 5 cycles. Okay, now if I'm running this, so always keep your mobile in a landscape position so that your screen will be larger. You'll be able to comprehend the waveforms. Okay, so like earlier we got a sinusoidal input voltage, and then you have diode voltage for the for first positive half cycle is 0, and for the negative half cycle it is sinusoidal voltage, and the output voltage is sinusoidal for the positive half cycle and 0 for the negative half cycle. And now you can see that the voltage value and the current values are different. So you can see that voltage peak value is 10 volts, whereas current peak value is 0.1, because 10 volts by 100 ohms it will be 0.1. So 0.1 amperes. So current I have reduced it. Okay, because the current value has been reduced. So what is the peak volt ampere value? Can you tell me the peak volt ampere value? What's the peak voltage you are seeing on the screen in the output?
10, sir.
Okay, 10 volts. So what is the
10.
RMS value? So what is the RMS value?
10 by root. Sorry.
10 by root 2. Okay. And then for the current, what's the peak value you are seeing?
0.1, sir.
So what will be the RMS value?
0.1.
RMS value will be?
Root 2.
What will the RMS value?
0.1
Is it
by
going
2, sir.
0.1 by 2? It is not going to be either for the voltage or for the current. It is not going to be your 0.1 by root 2. It is going to be so for the voltage, it is halfway rectified output. Okay, it is not your sinusoidal where you can directly divide by root 2. So RMS value will be equal to, what will be the RMS value? RMS value will be equal to 10 volts, 10 volts by 2. 10 by 2, that is 5 volts. Again, for the current, it will be 0.1 by 2, that is 0.05. Okay. So what will the power value? What's the power value? Vrms into Irms, right? Power is equal to Vrms into Irms. So power value will be equal to 10 by 2 into 0.1 by 2. Okay. So 10 by 2 is 5. Okay. 10 into 0.1 by 2 by 2 into 2. Okay. It is 1 by 4. So when you are taking the circuit diagram, so always better to represent. So in the transform value, so nominal power, you can represent by two things. So for the transformer, two things you should consider here. First is the voltage across these terminals. So voltage across these terminals will be a rectified voltage or a non-rectified voltage. Please tell me. Voltage at the transformer terminals. So transformer secondary terminals, non-rectified. So non-rectified is it's a non-rectified. So rectified voltage you will get only after crossing this diode. Only across the resistor you are going to get the rectified voltage, right? At the transformer it's still the sinusoidal voltage. Okay. So what is the sinusoidal voltage value? 10 by square root 2, right? Peak value is, secondary peak voltage is 10 by square root 2. Can you see this winding two parameters? 10 by square root 2. Okay. And then current, coming to the current. So current, you cannot separate it like input terminals one current, output terminals another current, because all these elements are in series. So throughout the circuit there is only one current, one loop current is only there. You do not have two different currents, because all these elements, whether it's a transformer or a diode or the load resistor, all are in series. You know that in series circuit current will be the same. You do not have any two or three different currents. So current is the rectified current only. Okay. So what I will be doing is, when I want to write the power value, I will be writing non-rectified voltage multiplied by rectified current. Okay. So that's the input voltage into output current I'm going to write. So for the input voltage 10 by square root 2 into, and then you have the output current. What's the output current value? RMS value.
Im by root 2, sir. Im by 2.
Im by 2, right? So I am getting 0.1 in the as the peak value. Okay, in the current. So it is 0.1 by 2. It's the current. Voltage is 10 by square root 2. So it is 10 by square root 2 into 0.1 by 2. So okay, so it will be 1 by 2 root 2. So 1 by 2 root 2 is, I will be writing it as 0.5 by square root. So when I am writing the nominal power value, I'll be writing it as 0.5 by square root. Okay, so while doing the calculation, this is important. Okay, so when I am running this, so I can save it again. So I'll be saving it and then I'm getting it. Okay, so I've shown you the simulation after using a transformer. So I am giving 230 volts so to the primary of the transformer and then getting 10 by square root 2 RMS value in the at the secondary of the transformer, which I am giving to the half-wave rectifier circuit. Now I'm going to introduce two terms. One is the rectifier efficiency. The first term is called rectifier efficiency. So rectifier efficiency is nothing but uh, in a rectifier we are giving a AC input and then we are getting the DC output. So rectifier efficiency is a measure of the DC power delivered to the load divided by AC input given to the rectifier. Okay, so what are the AC input you are giving to the rectifier? It is near the your transformer secondary terminals. Okay, so I'll be showing you the whiteboard now and then I'll be deriving the terms for this. Just a minute. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So here I'll be talking about something called rectifier efficiency. Rectifier efficiency denoted by term eta. This is eta. Okay, so eta is nothing but ratio of DC power delivered to the load by AC power input to the rectifier. So that is eta, I can write as PDC out divided by PAC in. So usually this rectifier efficiency is given as a percentage. So if you want to write it as a percentage, then percentage eta is equal to PDC P out by PAC in into 100. Okay, so this is the formula. Now we need to what we need to do? We need to write the values for this PDC out and PAC. So what is the PDC out? DC output power at the load terminals. So this will be equal to your what is power value in terms of current and resistance? Can you tell me what is power?
I square R.
What
I
is
square.
I square R? So I'll be writing because of DC power, I'll be writing IDC square into RL. Okay. So now tell me what is the value of your IDC?
IM by pi.
M by pi.
IM by pi. Okay. So what I'll be doing
Pi.
is instead of IDC, I'll be writing IM by pi whole square into RL. So we shall keep it aside. Okay, and then we have to write again PAC in. So PAC is input is nothing but so power given to the at the terminals or input terminals of the circuit. So power that is given from the secondary of the transformer, that is equal to a power consumed by the diode within the diode, and then power consumed by the load. So what I will be writing is, because current is same for the entire circuit, so AC power I will be writing it as I RMS square into, I'll be writing it as RF plus RL, where RF is nothing but your diode forward resistance. Okay. And then RL is your load resistance. Now tell me what's the value of IRMS? What's the value of IRMS?
IM by 2.
IM by
IM by
I by 2. So it is
2.
IM by 2 whole square into RF plus RL. So your rectifier efficiency eta equal to PTC out by PAC in, that is IM square by pi square into RL into, so because in denominator, those terms in the denominator will come to the numerator, other terms will be in the numerator will come to the denominator. So it is into RF plus RL. Okay. So IM square gets cancelled. So you are left out with 2 by pi square into RL by RF plus RL. Okay. So this is your eta value. So eta value is equal to 2 by pi square into RL by RF plus RL. Now again, you consider the practical condition where diode resistance is very small compared to your load resistor. So in that case, what happens? Your eta will be now nearly equal to, if you consider the RF is very small, what happens? If you neglect this RL, now in the numerator denominator you have only RL. Sorry. If you neglect this RF, you are left out with RL by RL. They both get cancelled. So it will eta will be nearly equal to 2 by pi square. It implies rectifier efficiency, percentage rectifier efficiency is equal to 2 by pi square into 100. That is equal to, now use your calculator and tell me the value of 2 by pi square. Sorry, I think somewhere we have missed something.
4 by pi
4,
square.
sir, not 2.
4 by
Yeah. So okay, I forgot to do this 2 square. Okay, so here 2 square I forgot to do. So thank you for correcting me. It is 4 by pi square. So this is 4 by pi square. So it is 4 by pi square into 100. Okay.
0.40.
Okay, so it is 0.4052. If you write it as percentage, it is around 40.528%. Okay, I'm getting in my calculator. So if you are using, instead of directly using the pi in your calculator, sometimes you may be using 22 by 7, or you may be using 3.14. In case if you are using 3.14 instead of pi, then you may get around 40.56. Okay, in some books it will be 40.56, some other books it will be 40.52. So nearly it is around 40.5%. Okay, so depending on the kind of pi value you are taking, that's the only difference. Say whatever, you need to remember that percentage of efficiency, rectifier efficiency is nothing but 4 by pi square into 100. This is the half wave rectifier efficiency. It means that you are only able to convert 40.5% of the AC into DC. Only 40% has been converted. You are unable to convert the remaining 59.4%. Okay. So this is it's a good rectifier or a bad rectifier? You tell me.
A bad rectifier.
Yeah, it's not a good rectifier. I can say it's a poor rectifier. Okay. So next thing you can find out is something called transformer utilization. Sorry. utilization factor. So it is tough. TUF. Okay. So transformer utilization factor is nothing but how much of the transformer you are able to utilize. So it's a ratio of tough is the ratio of again DC power delivered to the load, DC power delivered to the load divided by uh, effective volt ampere rating of your transformer. Okay, you know that transformer is a AC device. So for a transformer, we are finding out the VA rating, which is the AC value. Okay, and then we are finding the ratio of the DC power delivered to the load. Okay, so already we have found out the P-DC DC power delivered to the load. So what is P-DC out? What's the value we have found out earlier?
IM by
It is,
pi whole square into R.
yeah, it is IM by pi whole square into RL. So next we need to find out the effective VA rating of the transformer. So VA rating of the transformer. For half a rectifier and the bridge rectifier, it is very much easy, but for a center tap, finding out the VA rating is not directly evident. So we shall see at the later stage. So for the VA rating of the transformer, as I told earlier, so VA rating of the secondary terms you will take. Okay. So initially we'll consider that the transformer ratio is turns ratio is 1:1. Okay, for our convenience of the derivation, we are considering that we are not taking n:1 as a transformer ratio. Instead, we are considering only 1:1 as a transformer uh, turns out ratio. Okay, so here now VA rating will be equal to voltage at secondary terminals of transformer. Okay, so which is rectified voltage or non-rectified voltage? Non-rectified, right? So it is non-rectified into current. So current in the circuit. What's the current in the circuit? It's a rectified current because all the three elements are in series only. So there's only one current, which is a rectified current. So when I'm writing the voltage, what is the this AC values only. For the transformer, always we consider only AC values. Transformer is not a DC device. Transformer is always a AC device. For the transformer, for AC, what kind of value we are going to consider? We are going to consider the RMS values. Okay. So what is the RMS voltage for a non-rectifier or a sinusoidal voltage? What is the value? Voltage. Whether it is Vm by 2 or Vm by root 2. Vm by root 2. So we'll be writing Vm by root 2. Okay, and then current. Current is a rectified current. So it is Im by 2 or Im by root 2?
IM by 2.
Im by 2. So I'm writing it as Im by 2. Okay, and again I will be writing Vm as Im into Rf plus RL. So voltage is equal to current into the resistance. So sometimes you may also include the transformer terminals also. So in most of the books it will be written Im into Rf plus RL. Okay. So you may also write, if you want to consider the transformer winding resistance also, you may consider it as transformer RTF, so transformer resistance, winding resistance plus Rf plus RL. Okay, so whichever way you want to consider, if in a given question, if there's mentioned that transformation is also given, then you have to consider that also. But in most of the practical questions, in case if they did not mention anything, then you may omit these values, RF and RTF values. Okay, if you want to consider, you can consider them. Otherwise, you may omit them. Okay. So because a transformer is basically a inductor. So transformer is one kind of inductor, I can say that, and its resistance is almost is very low compared to its inductance. So for practical purposes, we will be considering that resistance of the transformer is negligible. Okay. So now what will be your TUF value, your transformer utilization factor value? This PDC out by VAA rating, effective VA rating. Okay. So PDC out will be IM square by pi square into RL into, now the denominator becomes the numerator. It is 2 root 2 by IM square into, if you want to consider, you can consider RTF plus RF. In the previous derivation also, in the derivation of rectifier efficiency also, if you want to include transformer resistance, you can include that. Okay, that's up to you. There's no mandatory condition that we should not include the transformer resistance at all. Okay, so theoretically we will be including that, but for most of the practical situations, we'll be considering the transformer resistance and the forward resistance of the diode as negligible quantities, and we will not be writing those values. Okay, unless and until they mention any specific numerical questions, we will not be using those terms. Okay, so now if RTF plus RF is less than RL compared to a load resistance, if these two values are negligible, then what happens? This value will turn out to be 0, and then RL gets cancelled. So you will be left out with TF is nearly equal to, again, IM square get cancelled. You will be left out with 2 root 2 by pi square. Okay. Now tell me the value of 2 root 2 by pi square value. You find out and tell me the value of 2 root 2 by pi square value.
0.657, sir.
0.
28657, sir.
Just a minute, let me check. 0.28657. Okay, so that's your TEF value. It is 0.28567. Okay, so this is your TEF value. Okay, it's a transformer utilization factor. So only 28% of your transformer is being delivered to the power is being delivered to the load. Okay, so this is a transformer utilization factor. Now we shall move on to the full wave rectifier. Full wave rectifier is of two configurations. If they did not mention any configuration, by default it will be full wave rectifier with center tap transformer. Otherwise, they will mention that it's a bridge rectifier. So bridge rectifier implies that it's a full wave rectifier with bridge configuration. Now I'll be showing you the simulation diagram of full wave rectifier now. So I'll be closing this half wave rectifier. I'll be opening the full wave rectifier. Please mute yourself. Okay. So first I'll draw the diagram on the whiteboard. Then I think it's better you can appreciate the simulation diagram. So in the full wave rectifier, so I will draw first a simple circuit without using of any transformer. Okay. So simply you have a voltage, AC voltage source, and then you have 4 diodes in this fashion, in the form of a bridge. and then this bridge is connected to the load resistance RL. So one terminal will be given to this, and the second terminal will be given to this leg. Okay, I have two legs of the bridge. So one leg to one leg I'm connecting one terminal of the voltage source, and for the other leg I'm connecting the other terminal of the voltage source. Okay, this is simple full wave bridge rectifier. Now I'll be naming these diodes as diode D1, D2, D3, D4. So opposite diodes I'm writing at a time. So D1 consecutive numbers I'm writing for the opposite terminals, because if you consider the positive half cycle. So first I'll take a let us consider this input signal V in. Okay, for the positive half cycle, what happens? Your diode D1, this is the anode, this is the cathode, anode, cathode, anode, cathode, anode, cathode. Okay, so your diode D1 will be for the positive half cycle, diode D1 will be on, and then your diode D2 will be on. So your current will flow, whereas diode D3, D2, D4 will be off. Diode D1, D2 on, D3 off, D4 off. Okay, so it will reduce that. This will become like the short circuit across diode D1, and then this is open circuit across D3, and then you have again a short circuit across D2. Here okay. Here you have open circuit across D4. This is how your circuit turns out to be. Okay, now current will flow from here from the source through D1, because D3 is open. Current cannot flow through D3, it will flow through RL. Okay, and then through D2 it will flow, because D4 is open, it cannot flow through the D4. Again it comes back to the source. This is how it completes one complete cycle. Okay, so if you check this output voltage for the positive half cycle, your entire positive half cycle will be reflected in the output. Okay, because so let us say that this terminal is A, this terminal is B. So current is flowing from A to B. Okay, now this is for positive half cycle. Now if you consider the negative half cycle, for the negative half cycle, what happens is diodes, this are positive half cycle. For the negative half cycle, your diode, which diodes will be on, which diodes will be off? Can anyone respond?
D3,
For the
D4
negative
will
half
be
cycle.
positive, sir. D1, D2 will be reverse.
D3, D4,
Yeah,
D1, D2.
D1, yeah, D1, D2 will D1 and D2 will be reverse bias. D1 will be off, D2 will be off, whereas D3, D4 will be forward bias. Okay, D3 and D4 will be forward bias. Now the circuit diagram will turn out to be, so now in the earlier circuit, this is the positive terminal, this is the negative terminal. Now it will be reverse. Okay, so this is the positive terminal for the negative half cycle, and then if you come here, your D1 will be open, D1 is off, D3 is closed. Okay, again here D2 is open, coming here, and then after this is open, and then these two are connected, right? Here D4 is closed, so D4 is closed, D3 is closed, D2 and D1 are open. Now current flows from positive terminal here, and from here it will flow through the D3. Okay, this A, this B, and from D3 it will flow through terminal A. From terminal A it will flow to terminal B, and again from terminal B it will go to the diode D4. From diode D4 it will go to the negative terminal. Okay, so likewise your circuit current direction will be changing. So from the point of view of the resistor, so in the first half cycle, positive half cycle, what is the direction of flow of current from A to B or from B to A for the positive half cycle of the input?
A to B, sir.
A to B. Okay, so from the negative half cycle,
A to B, sir.
so direction of current through the load resistor has not changed. So it is unidirectional current. So for the negative half cycle of the input also, you'll get the say current in the same direction. Okay. So this will be your V output. Okay. So always your current is flowing from terminal A to terminal B. Your current is flowing from terminal A to terminal B. So my drawing might not be legible, so that's why I'll showcase you the simulation diagram, so which you may be able to appreciate. Okay, so what I have taken, like earlier, I have considered the 230 volts voltage source. So can you see this circuit diagram, simulation diagram? So I'm taking peak value of 230 into square root 2, because 230 is RMS value, peak value is 230 into square root 2. And then transformer values, again I'm considering as do not forget about the nominal powers and frequencies. Just check the winding parameters. Winding 1 is 230 RMS, winding 2 is 10 by square root 2. Again I have unticked the 3 winding transformers. I have taken the R1, L1, R2, L2 values as 0 values only. Okay. For the from the secondary, I connected that one terminal is connected to the leg 1. So in between D1 and D4. Other terminal is connected to the leg 2, which is between the D3 and D2. Okay, this is where I have connected the voltage of the secondary of the transformer. Okay, and then I'm measuring the voltage across this secondary of the transformer by means of this voltage measurement unit, which I named it as input voltage. Okay, and then for each of the diodes, I've enabled the measurement port. So if I click this, I've taken that on resistance as very small, 0.001. Forward voltage I've taken as 0. I'm considering them as ideal diodes. And then I'm taking this show measurement port. I've turned on the show measurement port. Okay, then only I'm getting this terminal called E. So E implies that it's a measurement port. And I'm using the bus selector, in which I'm only considering one signal, which is the diode voltage. Okay. And then to measure the load current, I'm connecting a output current is a current measurement unit in series with the load resistor. Okay, and then across the resistor, I'm connecting another voltage measurement port, which I'm naming it as output voltage. Okay, so these sections are nothing but to measure the diode voltage only. So do not get confused by this number of wiring in the diagram. So it's a simple bridge rectifier only. So these are additional, these wirings or your ports are only used to enable the measurements. Okay. And then I'm taking all these measurements to the scope. So in the scope, I have almost 7 measurements. First is the input voltage, and then diode D1 voltage, diode D2 voltage, diode D3 voltage, diode D4 voltage, and then output voltage, and then output current. So all the 7 signals I'm giving to the scope. Okay. And again, I'm taking the simulation time as 0.1 seconds. Okay. Now I'll be, again, I'll check this resistor value. Again, I'll be considering as 100 ohms. Okay, instead of 1 ohm, I'm taking that 100 ohms. So this is a layout I've taken. So layout can be changed from the here. So layout, how many? So you can check this layout. So I've checked this kind of layout. So for it, so this layout I've used. Okay, now I'm going to run this circuit. Simulation circuit. Okay, it is running. Now did you get this output? So you can check that. So what's the peak value of the input voltage? You're seeing on the screen. Peak value
10 volts, sir.
10
10
volts.
volts.
It's a sinusoidal voltage, so RMS value will be 10 by square root 2. For the diode D1 voltage, can you see? So what is the diode voltage for the positive half cycle? For the positive half cycle, what's the diode
Zero.
D1 voltage? 0. It
Zero,
means
sir.
that, so when will be the diode D1 voltage will be 0? When it's in closed condition or it's in on condition. When it's on condition, VF is I've taken as 0 volts. Okay. So your diode D1 is acting as an on switch. Okay. Or as a short circuit switch. Okay. So your voltage will be equal to 0 for the positive half cycle. Whereas for the negative half cycle, you can see that for the negative half cycle, so what is the voltage that you are seeing? Peak voltage, peak inverse voltage you are seeing on the screen. For the diode D1, for the negative half cycle, what's the maximum voltage you are seeing? Please respond.
Minus 10 volts, sir.
Minus 10 volts. So, okay. So for the negative half cycle, your diode D1 is say simply a off switch. It's a open circuit. So what are the voltage that is you are supplying that is appearing across your diode D1? So this value is very much equal to that of your input voltage. So can I call that peak inverse voltage as a minus V, your peak inverse voltage as Vm? Can I call it? So what's the peak inverse voltage from this graph I'm getting?
Minus
Vm or
10.
2 Vm? Minus Vm, right? Minus 10 here. It's a maximum voltage is minus 10. So I can call that peak inverse voltage as 10 volts. Only I'm taking the magnitude. Or I can write the peak inverse value as voltage value as Vm, where Vm is the peak value of the input voltage. Okay. So let us consider what is happening to the diode D2. You can see that diode D1 and D2 are exactly the same. They are identical because they are turning on at the same time. They are turning off at the same time. And even the voltages are also same. Here also for the diode D2 also peak inverse voltage is 10 volts only. Okay. Now consider the diode D3. For the diode D3, you can see that for the positive half cycle of the input, what you are seeing for the positive half cycle diode D3 value? Please respond. For the positive half cycle, that is between 0 to 0.01 seconds. What is the voltage curve? It's a 0 or a kind of sinusoidal nature? Please respond.
Sinusoid.
So it's a positive sinusoid or a negative sinusoid?
Negative.
Negative.
Negative. It means that for the positive half cycle of the input, diode D3 is in off condition or it is in reverse bias condition. Again, the peak inverse voltage value is minus 10 volts. That is equal to the supply voltage. Okay, Vm. For the negative half cycle, you can see that what is the voltage value of the in the negative half cycle of diode D3? How is your diode D3 voltage value in the negative half cycle? That is between 0.01 seconds and 0.02 seconds. What's the value you are seeing? 0 volts.
0, 0.
It means that your diode D3 is on condition or off condition?
On condition.
On condition. So it's a closed switch. Okay. So a diode will showcase some voltage across your terminals only when it is in off condition. If when it's in on condition, it's acting like a closed switch. So closed switch means voltage is equal to across the terminals equal to 0. Okay. Now let us see the diode D4 voltage. So diode D4 voltage is again identical to that of diode D3 voltage because D3 and D4 are turning on and turning off at the same time. For the positive half cycle, D4 is again turned off. For the negative half cycle, diode D4 is turned on. Okay. Now let us come back to the output voltage. How is the output voltage? Can you see the output voltage?
Yes, sir.
So how is the output voltage curve? What's the maximum value of the output voltage?
10, sir.
10 sir.
10 volts. Okay. And can you see any zero value in the output voltage, like a flat horizontal curve? Can you see in the output voltage, like in half-wave
No, sir.
rectifier? No,
No, sir.
there is no
No, sir.
any flat curve in the output voltage. You are seeing a kind of a wave-like structure in the output voltage, right? And so can you find out the periodicity? What's the time period for this waveform? Can you tell me the time period for the waveform? Is it 0.02 seconds or 0.01 seconds?
0.01.
0.01 sir.
0.
Yeah. So what is the frequency now?
1.
What's the frequency now? Frequency is equal to 1 by time period, right?
10.
100.
1 by 0, 1 by 0.01. That is
100.
100 sir.
100. So if I'm taking a input voltage curve of 50 hertz frequency, I'm getting a output voltage curve of how much? What's the frequency I'm getting in the output? 100 hertz.
100.
So if I take a input voltage of frequency f, I'll get a output voltage with a frequency 2f. So your frequency will be doubled in a full wave rectifier. This you should remember. So frequency in a full wave rectifier will be doubled than that of the input frequency. Okay. So if you're taking 50 hertz, you're getting 100 hertz. If you're taking 25 hertz, you might end up with 50 hertz. Okay. So on like that. And then coming to the output current is also following the output voltage waveform, but the magnitude you can see that it's 0.1. Why it is 0.1? Voltage is 10 volts peak value divided by your resistor is 100. So 10 by 100 is 0.1. Okay. So peak value of the output current is 0.1 volts. 0.1 amperes, sorry. Current is always measured in amperes. So output current is also following the output voltage because we are taking the resistor as the load. If you have taken some inductor or capacitor in the load terminals, then your waveform will be slightly modified. So when you have learned about the RL circuits, you will be learning that in circuit analysis. Then we can discuss about that particular topic. Okay. So this is the waveforms of your full wave bridge rectifier. Now, what is the transformer voltage at the transformer secondary terminals? Transformer secondary terminals voltage is RMS value. How much it is? Is the rectified voltage or the non-rectified voltage for the transformer secondary terminals?
Non-rectified.
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 So your RMS value will be equal to 10 by root 2, right? Okay. Whereas the current, what's the current you are getting?
Rectified.
Rectified current.
Rectified.
That current value you need to now calculate. So let us go back to the analysis part. So I'll close this. I'll be opening the whiteboard again. So we'll be now discussing analysis of full wave bridge rectifier. So I'll take some 10 more minutes. I'll quickly at least derive the terms for you. So if not all the 10, at least I'll complete half of them. So first thing we need to find out is for the rectifier, we need to find out DC current, right? What's the DC current, IDC, or the average current? What's the DC current? So IDC is, you'll get it by dividing by time period 0 to t, I into dt. This is how you will be doing, right? So for this curve, if I open this simulation diagram, what's the time period for the output current? Is it pi radians or 2 pi radians? For
Pi,
the
sir.
input, pi, right?
Pi,
So
sir.
it is not 2 pi radians, it is now pi radians only. So time period, so it is replicating after pi radians. So I'll be writing over here. So here I will be writing 1 by pi integral 0 to pi, writing Im sine theta d theta, where theta is equal to omega t. Okay, so I'll take Im by pi outside, and then integral sine theta. What is integral sine theta? Minus cos theta, right? So it is 0 to pi.
Yes, sir.
So Im by pi into, so minus of what is cos pi? What is cos pi? Cos pi value. What is cos pi value?
Minus
-1.
1.
Minus
One.
1.
Minus
Minus
1.
of cos 0. Cos 0 value is 1. So higher limit minus lower limit I am doing. So it is minus of -1 minus 1. So it become, what is your IDC value now? 2 Im by pi. So what is the value got in for the half wave rectifier? It is Im by pi. So I can say that in a full wave rectifier, your DC output current is double that of your, compared to that of a half wave rectifier. In the half wave rectifier, you got only Im by pi, whereas here you are getting 2 Im by pi. So your DC voltage will be equal to, so DC voltage VDC is equal to IDC into RL. Okay, it is 2 Im by pi into RL. Okay, or Im into RL is again, I can consider it to be nearly equal to, this is nearly equal to 2 Vem by pi. Okay, now DC current and voltage are over. Next we'll be considering RMS current or output RMS AC current. Okay, IRMS. So RMS is nothing but root over mean square, right? Root over mean squares. So mean of squares. So mean means again average. So first what need to do? We need to find out the squares. It's something like we need to do the squares and then summation of squares, and then we have to divide by the time period, right? So same thing, instead of, if it's a discrete signal, we'll be doing summation. If it's a continuous signal, we'll be doing integration. Okay, it is I square dt by t under root. So what is IRMS? IRMS is equal to, first I'll write the integral time period 1 by, time period is here not 2 pi but pi, right? For a full wave rectifier, what's the time period? Output time period, output current, pi.
Hi, sir.
Okay, now integral again 0 to pi I square. So I square is Im sine theta whole square d theta again to the power 1 by 2. Okay, so 1 by pi it's Im square by pi into sine square theta. Again I will be writing it as 1 minus cos 2 theta, sorry, sine square theta. How can I write 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2 into d theta? Okay, again 0 to pi is the limit. So if I do this integral, again what happens? What is integral 1 by 2 or d theta? What is integral d theta? What is integral d theta?
Theta.
Theta. Theta.
Theta, sir.
So so you will be left out with, so Im, I will bring it outside. So for the remaining things, I'll keep it inside the square root. It's 1 by pi, and then so d theta is theta. It's theta by 2 minus 1 by 2 into, what is the integral cos 2 theta? The sine 2 theta by 2. Sine 2 theta
by 2,
by
sir.
2. So limits is 0 to pi. So if you keep the limits, sine 2 pi will be 0. Again sine 0 will be 0. So entire term will become 0. Okay. So you are left out with 1 by pi. If you keep the limits of pi and 0, it will be pi minus 0 by 2. Okay, per half. Again, this pi gets cancelled. So what you are left out with? Im by
2.
Im by root 2. Okay, so this Im by root 2. Whereas in a half wave rectifier, what is the RMS value you got? In a half wave rectifier, you got Im by 2. So which one is
IM by
greater? This full wave rectifier. Okay,
Half.
full wave. Which one is higher? IRMS
Half wave.
half wave or IMRMS full wave? Which one is higher, large value?
IRMS
Which
full
one?
wave.
Full wave is large value because Im by root 2 is larger than Im by 2. Okay, so this is how you are calculating the RMS value, and then you already calculated the peak inverse value voltage. What is peak inverse voltage value? Vm, right? Did you get that from the? Did you see this waveform? What's the peak inverse voltage across your diode? It is minus 10, right? It's a negative voltage is maximum value. Can you see in the simulation diagram? It is minus 10. So that is equal to your Vm value. Okay. So that's how you're getting peak inverse voltage as Vm. Okay. Because you got the IRMS, I can also write this VRMS value. So VRMS value equal to, similar I can write it as IRMS into RL, that's nearly equal to Im RL by root 2, which is nearly equal to Vm by root 2. Okay, Vrm is equal to Vm by root 2 you are getting. It's the output voltage. So with this I'll end this. So next we have to find out form factor. You have to find out form factor. You have to find out your ripple factor gamma,
Rectifier efficiency.
and the rectifier efficiency eta, and then we have to find out TUF values. Okay, so this we shall do it in the upcoming classes. Okay, with this I'll end this. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, or you can post in the Canvas or in the WhatsApp group. So I'll take the attendance and then close the session. Just a minute, I'll stop the recording.